Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Everything Within podcast. I'm your host, Alina Krasnojon. This podcast is all about empowering you to build an extraordinary, fulfilling life and tap into the limitless potential that resides within you. Thank you for tuning in today. Remember those early days of social media when we shared things simply because we loved them, before every post needed a call to action? Before every interaction became a touch point, before we started measuring the ROI of our morning coffee posts. This isn't just about social media burnout, it's about something deeper, something that's been brewing since the first advertisement convinced someone they weren't complete without a particular brand of soap. Marketing has always played on our deepest insecurities and desires. In the 1920s, Edward Bernays, Sigmund Freud's nephew, convinced women that cigarettes were torches of freedom. In the 1950s, advertisers sold the perfect suburban life that left the entire generation feeling inadequate. Today, gurus sell us courses about selling courses about selling courses. Each era brought new ways to commodify our deepest human needs, our search for meaning, our desire for connection, our quest for purpose. And now we're not just consuming this marketing, we're expected to become it. Every freelancer, every creator, every small business owner is told they need to become a marketing machine. Build your personal brand, they say. Create content every day. Always be closing. If you're not growing, you're dying. The result? We're exhausted. Not just as consumers being bombarded with endless sales pitches, but as creators and business owners too. We're tired of turning every human interaction into a potential sales opportunity. Tired of seeing our audience as conversion rates rather than human beings. Tired of constant pressure to monetize every breath we take. But this burnout we're feeling, it might be actually pointing us towards something important. Maybe it's a sign that we need to fundamentally rethink what marketing can be. What if there was another way? What if building a business didn't require sacrificing your soul on the altar of endless self-promotion? What if authentic connection could be more powerful than any marketing funnel? In today's episode, we're going to explore exactly that. We will look at how we got here, why traditional marketing is breaking down, and most importantly, what the alternative looks like. Not just in theory, but in practice. But I need to warn you, what I'm about to share might make some marketing experts uncomfortable. It might challenge everything you've been told about how to grow your business, and that's exactly the point. Because here is what I've discovered. The most powerful marketing often doesn't look like marketing at all. Let's begin. Let's take a moment to remember what the internet promised us in those early days. It wasn't about conversion rates or sales funnels. It was about possibility, about finding your people, about sharing knowledge freely, about connecting with others who shared your weird, wonderful passions. Remember those early blogs? Those forums where people would write detailed guides just because they loved the subject. That pure excitement of finding others who cared about the same obscure things you did. But then something shifted. As the internet became more commercialized, a new breed of experts emerged. Marketing gurus who looked at this space of genuine connection and saw only one thing: untapped profit potential. And they began selling us stories that became our prison. Don't give too much away for free. People won't value it. They weren't. This mantra plays on a deep truth about human psychology. We often do desire what's scarce or exclusive. Our primitive brains are wired to want what we can't easily have. And that's exactly why it's so insidious. Marketers have learned to weaponize this hardwired response, creating artificial scarcity to trigger our ancient survival instincts. But just because something works on your psychology doesn't make it right or sustainable. When we deliberately withhold knowledge that could help others just to create artificial scarcity, we're not building true value. We're manipulating basic human impulses for profit. We're creating a culture of unnecessary gatekeeping where information could benefit many is locked away to benefit few. Always be selling, otherwise you're leaving money on the table. Because apparently every human interaction is now a missed revenue opportunity. Content is king, but monetization is queen. Translation: don't you dare create anything without a strategic upsell plan. If you're not constantly reminding people what you do, they will forget. As if we're all goldfish, unable to remember anything beyond the last sales pitch we saw. Your expertise is too valuable to share freely. The ultimate fear-based selling tactic, convincing experts that generosity equals devaluation. These weren't just meaningless phrases, they became the commandments of online business, passed down from guru to student, from course to course, from coaching program to coaching program. And they created something profound, a generation of anxious entrepreneurs. Look around, we're all caught up in this trap. Creators who can't post without wondering about the ROI. Business owners who feel guilty for helping someone without charging them. Experts who hold back their best insights for fear. Let's be clear about something. Being generous doesn't mean letting people exploit you or ignoring your own boundaries. There's the crucial difference between sharing value freely and letting others take advantage of your time and energy. You can be generous with your knowledge while still being clear about your boundaries, your paid offerings, and what requires a deeper commitment. It's not about giving everything away for free. It's about sharing genuine value while maintaining healthy boundaries and allow you to sustain your business and energy in the long run. This balance is essential. You can share your insights generously while still having premium offerings. You can help people authentically while having clear boundaries around your time and energy. The key that these boundaries come from a place of self-respect and sustainability, not from fear or artificial scarcity. We've become entrepreneurs with potential performance anxiety, always wondering, is this post optimized enough? Should I be adding a call to action? Am I missing a monetization opportunity? Will people think less of my expertise if I share it freely? But here is what these gurus never tell you. This constant pressure to monetize everything is not just exhausting, it's counterproductive. It's like trying to make friends while holding up a cash register. It creates exactly the kind of transactional relationships that make genuine connection impossible. As Seth Godin pointed out years ago, traditional marketing was built for a world of scarcity, where attention could be bought and interrupted. But we are now in a world of abundance, of infinite choice, and in this world, trust is the scarcest resource of all. Yet these mantras, they're trust killers. Each one pushes further away from the very thing that could make our businesses truly sustainable. Authentic connection. But before we talk about the alternative, we need to understand just how deep this damage goes. Because the cost of living by these mantras isn't just measured in dollars and cents. It's measured in something far more precious. Let me share what I've discovered both in my journey and in countless conversations with other creators and entrepreneurs. First, there is the constant anxiety about missing opportunities. It's like being at a party but spending the whole time wondering if you should be at a better party. You're having a great conversion, but instead of being present, your mind is racing. Should I monetize my services? Is this a potential client? Am I wasting time with someone who won't convert? Our minds are naturally restless. It's part of being human. That voice that constantly scans for opportunities, that worries about the future, that questions if we're doing enough. It's not going away, and that's okay. The key isn't to silence this voice completely. You can't anyway, but to learn to work with it rather than against it. To acknowledge these thoughts when they arise, but not let them hijack every interaction. To understand that this mental chatter is normal, but it doesn't have to drive our actions or steal our presence in meaningful moments. The goal isn't to never think about business opportunities. It's to create a healthy relationship with these thoughts. where they inform us but don't control us, when we can notice them without immediately acting on them, when we can stay present in conversations while still being aware of authentic opportunities when they naturally arise. I remember catching myself on a peaceful morning walk, a moment that should have been about presence and reflection, and my mind immediately jumped to, this could be great content. That's when it hit me. This constant pressure to turn every moment into content was stealing the very authenticity that makes content worth creating in the first place. This ties directly to what Seth Godin calls the race to the bottom. When we're constantly in marketing mode, we end up commoditizing not just our work, but our very lives. We transform authentic moments into products, unique experiences, into formalic content, and in doing so, we join the masses of creators all fighting for attention in exactly the same way. But here's the thing, there is the difference between documenting your journey and performing it. I've learned that authentic content doesn't need to be a huge production. It's about finding that sweet spot where creation flows naturally from your life. When I'm out during the week, I will capture simple clips of what's actually happening. Not staged moments, not artificial perfectionism, but just real life with a bit of intentional documentation. Everything changed when I started asking myself a simple question. What actually attracts me when I consume content? The answer was surprisingly simple. It's not the perfect editing or clever hooks. It's simplicity, openness, vulnerability, authenticity, raw, genuine moments that feel real. I found myself drawn to creators who weren't afraid to show their process, their struggles, their genuine experiences, unfiltered and unpolished. I noticed that I was actually repulsed by overly produced content. You know the type, those highly edited pieces that feel like they took weeks to create, where every frame is staged, every word calculated, every moment manufactured. There is something about them that feels distant, unreachable, almost artificial. Now, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with wanting to improve your craft. We should all be growing, learning, developing our skills. But there is this delicate balance, this fine line between constant improvement and actually sharing what you want to share exactly as it is. Between refining your message and obsessing over perfection, between making it better and making it so perfect that it loses its soul. This simple approach to content creation that I chose is sustainable because it's effortless. I'm not spending days editing a single piece of content until it's perfect. I'm not creating elaborate performances of a life I'm not actually living. Because anything that feels like a horrible chore, anything that requires constant willpower to maintain, you won't stick with it long enough to see results. You won't build the skills needed for the long-term success. The real magic happens when content creation becomes as natural as breathing. When we are in constant marketing mode, we start seeing our audience not as human beings with hopes, dreams, and struggles, but as metrics on a dashboard. Open rates, conversion percentages, lifetime customer value. Each person becomes a data point in our customer journey. And the moment we start viewing people this way, we'll lose the very thing that could make our business truly successful, genuine human connection. Think about how this transforms our relationships. Every interaction becomes a strategic position. Every piece of content becomes a carefully calculated move. We're no longer sharing because we're excited or because we genuinely want to help. We're sharing with an agenda, and people can feel it. They can smell the strategy behind the smile. And here is the resentment. You pour your heart into creating valuable free content, sharing your best insights, truly trying to help. But if it doesn't convert, a voice in your head starts whispering, they're taking advantage of you. They're getting it all for free. You're being naive. This constant marketing mindset does something even more insidious. It makes us doubt our own generosity. We start questioning our natural impulse to help, to share, to connect. We wonder if we're being too generous, as if there is such a thing when you're building genuine relationships. It creates a scarcity mindset in a world of abundance. The internet gave us infinite reach, infinite potential for connection, infinite opportunities to share and create value. Yet we're acting like medieval merchants, hoarding our knowledge behind walls, afraid that if we share too much, there won't be enough left to sell. This isn't just a business problem, it's a cultural crisis. We're all walking around this incredible knowledge, experience, and insights that could help others, but we've been convinced that holding back is somehow smart business strategy, that generosity is naive, that authenticity is unprofessional. But some of the most successful businesses I know are breaking all these rules. They're sharing generously. They're prioritizing genuine connection over conversion rates. They're building something far more valuable than a well-optimized sales funnel. But what if we're getting it all wrong? What if the key to sustainable business isn't in aggressive marketing, but in genuine generosity? Let me share what I've discovered both through my experience and through studying those who've mastered this different approach. People aren't stupid. As Seth Godin says, in a world of infinite choice, people don't want more options. They want to be able to trust the sender. This truth has become increasingly evident. People can tell when you're genuinely sharing versus strategically positioning. It's like a difference between having a conversation with someone who's truly listening and someone who's just waiting their turn to speak. There is an energy to authenticity that can't be faked. They know how to find your services if they need them. They don't need to be constantly reminded of your services. They need to trust that your services are worth seeking out. They appreciate being treated like intelligent beings, not leads. This echoes Simon Sinek's philosophy that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When you respect their intelligence, they respect your authenticity. True value speaks for itself. When you create genuine value, a simple link in your bio can be enough if your work truly helps people. Let your work speak for itself. When you're truly solving problems, you don't need elaborate sales funnels. Word of mouth from satisfied clients become your most powerful marketing tool. When your work is remarkable, people can't help but share it. When you solve real problems, people will seek you out. This magic happens when you stop chasing clients and start attracting them through genuine value. The power of generous business. Share your knowledge freely. It creates trust and real connection. Generosity scales. Trust that generosity creates its own reward. This isn't just free good advice, it's practical business strategy. In a world where attention is scarce and trust is precious, generosity becomes your competitive advantage. Let go of the outcome. Some will buy, some won't, and that's okay. And here is the crucial part that most people miss. You need to have a side hustle or some way to support yourself while building your dream. This isn't about being reckless, it's about creating the space to be generous. Focus on creating value rather than capturing value. When you consistently create value, capturing value becomes a natural byproduct, not a desperate chase. Build relationships instead of funnels. But here is what's critical to understand. This approach requires patience. It's not about quick wins or overnight success. It's about building the long game, creating value that compounds over time, building trust that deepens with each genuine interaction, developing relationships that last beyond the transaction. Think of it like this: traditional marketing is like trying to convince someone to marry you on the first date. This approach is about becoming the kind of person others want to build lasting relationships with. The moment you truly let go of the constant pressure to monetize everything, something almost magical happens. It's like taking off a heavy backpack and didn't even realize you were carrying it. There is this profound sense of liberation that comes with it. Let me paint a picture of what this liberation looks like in practice. When you share what you know without expectation, your entire energy changes. Your voice becomes more natural. Your insight flows more freely. You're no longer filtering everything through the lens of but how can I sell this? Instead, you're simply sharing because you have something valuable to say and produce interactions that people care deeply about. When you create from a place of genuine excitement, something remarkable happens. That excitement is contagious. Think about it. When was the last time you were truly moved by someone who was clearly just going through the motion? Genuine enthusiasm has always a way of cutting through the noise of manufactured content. There is a deep wisdom in trusting that value will find its way back to you. It's not blind faith, it's understanding how value actually circulates in today's connected world. When you consistently create genuine value, you build a tribe of people who actually want to hear from you, who look forward to what you share next. When you focus on serving rather than selling, you become the trusted advisor, the go-to source, the person people naturally turn to when they need help. You're no longer pushing, you're pulling through genuine value creation. And perhaps most liberating of all, when you allow people to choose their level of engagement, you create space for authentic relationships to develop naturally. Some will simply read your content, others will become vocal supporters, some will eventually become clients or customers, but each relationship gets to develop at its own pace, without the artificial pressure of marketing funnels and urgency tactics. This approach often leads to more sustainable success than aggressive marketing ever could. Why? Because people are absolutely exhausted by traditional marketing. They developed sophisticated filters for sales pitches. They can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. What they're hungry for, desperately hungry for, is real connection, real value, real human interaction. In a world of endless automation and AI-generated content, genuine human authenticity has become a rare and precious commodity. Think about your own behavior. When was the last time you clicked on a limited time offer pop-up? Now compare that to the last time you eagerly awaited content from someone who consistently shares valuable insights without constantly trying to sell you something. This liberation from constant marketing pressure doesn't just change how you do business. It changes how you live. You start enjoying the process again. You rediscover the joy of creation for its own sake. You build genuine relationships rather than strategic networks. And paradoxically, when you truly let go of the need to monetize every interaction, you often end up creating something far more valuable than any marketing strategy could ever produce. Trust. Real, earned, sustainable trust. In a world of endless noise and countless options, that trust becomes your most valuable asset. Here is what most marketing experts won't tell you. Before you can build authentic connections with others, you need to do the deeper work of knowing yourself. This isn't just another self-development advice, it's the foundation of sustainable business. Think about it. How can you create authentic content when you're disconnected from your own authenticity? How you can express yourself freely when you're still operating from programmed beliefs about what business should look like? This is where the real work begins. It's about asking yourself the hard questions. What do I truly stand for? What values guide my decisions? How do I want to show up in the world? What pisses me off about the current state of things, and how can my work create meaningful change? Often our most powerful work comes from our deepest frustrations. That thing that drove you crazy in your industry, that's not just a complaint, it's pointing you towards your unique contribution. Your struggles and challenges aren't obstacles to your success. They are the very thing that make your perspective valuable. But here is what's crucial to understand. You can't fake this. You will have to become the person you're trying to sell to people. There are no shortcuts, and honestly, this is the hardest part. It's not about creating a perfect personal brand. It's about doing the inner work to become someone worth connecting with. Yes, eventually you will need to create offers. You will need to talk about your services, but here's the difference. When you've done this foundational work, mentioning your offerings doesn't feel sleazy. It feels natural because you're genuinely excited about how you can help. You don't need to convince people why they should care. Your authentic excitement and clear value do that for you. This journey requires several key elements. Finding your authentic expression. Discover your unique style of showing up. Create content that feels effortless and fun. Stop trying to copy what works for others. Trust your intuition about what feels right. Cultivating patience and detachment. This is where having a side hustle becomes crucial. It gives you the space to grow without desperate energy, allows you to practice detachment from immediate results, provides the foundation to build from abundance rather than scarcity. Nurture your whole self. Take care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Do things that bring you joy outside of business. Create space for stillness and reflection. Show up with grounded, present energy. Embrace the spiritual journey. Running a business becomes a practice of self-awareness. Each challenge is an opportunity for growth. Success becomes measured by alignment, not just metrics. You learn to trust the process and your own timing. Remember, being an entrepreneur is one of the most profound spiritual practices you can undertake. It will change how you face your fears, examine your beliefs, and continually choose authenticity over easy answers. This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming more genuinely yourself. Because your ideal clients aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for someone real, someone who understands their struggles because they've lived them, someone who's done the work and can light the way forward. The most powerful marketing is not a tactic or a strategy. It's natural radiance of someone who's done the inner work, who knows who they are and what they stand for, and who show up consistently from a place of authenticity. This journey we're talking about is bigger than marketing strategies or business tactics. We're actually discussing something far more profound, reclaiming the original promise of the internet. Remember that promise? A space where knowledge would flow freely, where genuine connections would thrive, where a value would be shared generously. When Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web, his vision wasn't about conversion rates or sales funnels. It was about creating a space where human knowledge could be freely shared and accessed by anyone, anywhere. The internet is the first medium that wasn't built to make money, it was built to connect us. When we release the grip of aggressive marketing, something extraordinary happens. We don't just create better business, we begin to fulfill that original promise. We create spaces where knowledge flows freely, unrestricted by paywalls or artificial scarcity. Connections form naturally based on shared values and genuine interest. Value is shared generously, creating ripples of positive impact. Trust builds organically through consistent, authentic presence. This isn't just idealism, it's the future of sustainable business. In a world drowning in marketing noise, authentic generosity becomes revolutionary. Your willingness to share freely, to connect genuinely, to serve wholeheartedly, they aren't naive choices. They are radical acts of courage that stand out more than any clever marketing tactic ever could. I've experienced this transformation firsthand. These days, I approach my podcast and content creation from a completely different place than it was years ago. Each episode isn't about hitting metrics or following some prescribed formula. It's about sharing a real experience, exploring genuine insights, enjoying the pure process of creation. This work is for me first, not for validation, not for critics, not for algorithm. And paradoxically, this shift made everything more meaningful, more impactful, and yes, even more successful, though that's no longer how I measure success. Breaking free from the productivity police and the marketing machine isn't just about scheduling useless time, though that's a start. It's about fundamentally shifting how we view our relationships with time, creativity, and worth. It's about recognizing that our value isn't measured in outputs, metrics, or dollars. It's about trusting that when we create from a place of genuine joy and presence, we're doing exactly what we are meant to be doing. Your work has inherent value. Your voice matters. Your perspective is unique. Your generosity is your strength. And when you share from this place of authentic abundance, you're not just building a business, you're participating in something bigger. You're helping to create the kind of internet, the kind of business world, the kind of society we all desperately need. It takes courage to step away from the conventional marketing mindset. It takes time and deep inner work to develop the self-trust needed to put your vision first, regardless of what the strategy experts are preaching. But when you finally give yourself permission to create what truly excites you, to share from a place of genuine enthusiasm rather than calculated marketing, everything changes. Because the future doesn't belong to those with the biggest marketing budgets or the cleverest sales tactics. It belongs to those brave enough to be genuine in the world of artifice, generous in a culture of scarcity, patient in an age of instant gratification. You're not just building a business, you're not just creating content, you're participating in a revolution of authenticity. And every time you choose genuine connection over manipulation, generous sharing over artificial scarcity, true service over mere selling, you're helping to create the kind of world we all want to live in. That's the real power of letting go of constant marketing. That's the true promise of authentic business. That's the future we can create together, one genuine connection at a time. Until the next time, bye!